this is the story of fucking around and finding out. And it was participated in by one Timothy Poole. Now, Tim Poole decided that he would attempt to sue the Kamala Harris administration. This was like a day or so ago, like 5 days ago, I guess. Now, for specifically this tweet. Okay? Trump operatives say their Project 2025 plan is to give Trump total unchecked legal power so they can jail and execute those who don't support Trump if he wins. They have since scrubbed this video from YouTube. And, well, we'll get there. Here's the video. Here's the video.
Should Democrats be in jail? No question. When Donald Trump gets elected, should he start locking them up? No question. Should there be lists of Democrats that need to go to jail? 100%. And the reason for that is they've committed crimes. We need to make sure that when Donald Trump wins, we've got an attorney general, a deputy attorney general, a head of the CIA and the FBI. Kash Patel would be fantastic. We can have attorney general. There's some names floating around. And then they can start having their investigators and the feds issuing subpoenas, pulling up evidence, and with real evidence, bring them to judges for warrants. Then these people can spend three years of their lives fighting tooth and nail for the crime against the government for crimes they committed, and we can prove. Yeah. And the reason why we put them on trial is that we can show.
Damn, it's crazy that a bunch of Democrats committed crimes that you can prove, and yet you aren't pursuing legal action against them.
The whole world, we will.
You know, if someone does that, you could file a police report. Actually, that's kind of how those work.
Uncover what you've done. We will make sure everyone knows, and you will be held accountable for it.
Not just jail, they should get the death penalty. You know, we actually used to have the punishment for treason in this country.
Yeah, we covered this when it happened. Laura Loomer literally followed up Tim's comment there by calling for mass executions of Democrats. just in case you guys caught that. And Tim Poole cut the segment. He cut the live stream, immediately cut it, and then came back being like, oh, people keep saying Democrats should die. I don't get it. So yeah, Tim Poole doesn't want you to see that. And of course, now Tim Poole says he's taking legal action against Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's Democratic campaign over the accusation of being or hosting a Trump operative with Laura Loomer. Let's just see his argument here, just real quick.
The tweet in question refers to me as a Trump operative. I do not work for the Trump campaign. I've never received any money from the Trump campaign or Trump PACs. We have received no outside investment for this show.
That might become relevant in like 2 minutes.
For anything related to Timcast Media Group, we were...
They're a person who works towards achieving the objectives of a larger interest. D. A Merriam-Webster's dictionary. I think...
Good job, Lance from the Surfs.
Legally, within the bounds of the English language, if you are someone who is consistently promoting Donald Trump, consistently vilifying Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or their campaign or the Democrats, trying to get Donald Trump elected, saying that you're going to vote for Donald Trump, saying you're donating money to Donald Trump's campaign, bringing on people who work on Donald Trump's campaign, or bringing on other people promoting Donald Trump's campaign to once again promote Donald Trump, all of that would probably fall within the bounds of a person who works towards achieving the objectives of a larger interest.
That is how that works. Now, what's funny and interesting about this is, well, here's the news of the day, everyone. Here's the news of the day. According to CNN, Department of Justice alleges Russia-funded U.S. media company linked to right-wing social media stars. Now, which stars, might you say? Clearly, it must be the hypocritical left who is up to their old shenanigans once again. the unnamed Tennessee-based company that the Department of Justice alleges was being funded by Russian operatives working as part of a Kremlin-orchestrated influence operation targeting the 2024 U.S. election is Tenet Media. Now, folks, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you've actually seen me cover Tenet Media and their fledgling operations as they've slowly revved into operation heading into the 2024 election cycle. I've talked about their videos. I've talked about the media that they're putting out there. And, notably, if you go to my YouTube channel, I have like a 3 or 4 hour long segment about covering the history of the Roman Empire. A Tim Pool podcast where he interviews a neo-Nazi white supremacist about the real history of the Roman Empire. And it's some fascinating stuff, but this is too good. This is too good, okay? Tim Pool's entire reputation is basically as in his own words, milquetoast fence sitter, someone who operates the center of any given argument, the enlightened centrist archetype. And he claims to not have any kind of affiliation with the right or the left. He is a libertarian centrist. And well, in his own words here, what did he say here? What was that?
Trump PACs. We have received no outside investment for this show.
Oh. For this show. Interesting. Let's take more looks at this article here. All right. The indictment unsealed in New York's Southern District. By the way, worth noting, an indictment being unsealed is not the same as an indictment being leaked to the press. It is officially open for public viewing when an indictment is unsealed. This is not like the evil leftist media is coming for Tenet Media. No, that's not it. That's not what's happening. Worth pointing that out because the conspiracy machine is already revving up about this among right-wing influencers. But let's take a look here. The indictment unsealed in New York's Southern District accuses 2 employees of RT, the Kremlin's media arm, of funneling nearly $10 million to an unidentified company described only as Company One in court documents. CNN has independently confirmed that Company One is Tenet Media, which is a platform for independent content creators. It is self-described as a network of heterodox commentators that focus on Western political and cultural issues, according to its website, which is very careful language on its part, I might add. The goal of the operation, according to prosecutors, because prosecutors are involved, was to fuel pro-Russian narratives, in part by pushing content and news articles favoring Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump and others who the Kremlin deemed to be friendlier to its interests. And the indictment also says Company One's website identifies 6 commentators. Who could they be? Among the commentators listed at Tenet Media's website are right-wing personalities Benny Johnson and Tim Pool. That's right, Benny Johnson, the guy behind the hit video series The Left Can't Meme. Which, if you don't remember it, that is a blessing upon your psyche, and I wish you well in your ignorance. And Tim Pool. Both have millions of subscribers on YouTube and other social media platforms. Pool interviewed Trump on his podcast in May. In separate statements released Wednesday, Johnson and Pool said they were victims of the alleged scheme and said they maintained editorial control of the content they had created. Yeah, they were the real victims here, getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from an unknown source that really wanted them to be pro-Russia. That sounds unbiased to me. That sounds unbiased. No, that's totally biased. You're literally being a paid propagandist, man. All right. Here, let's take a look at Benny Johnson's statement over here. A statement on the leaked DOJ indictment today. See, interesting choice of words from Benny Johnson here. Leaked DOJ indictment. It wasn't leaked. It was unsealed by the court. It's not being leaked to the media. It's not illicitly being shared with media sources. A year ago, a media startup pitched my company to provide content as an independent contractor. Our lawyers negotiated a standard arm's-length deal, which was later terminated. We are disturbed by the allegations in today's indictment, which make clear that myself and other influencers were victims in this alleged scheme. My lawyers will handle anyone who states or suggests otherwise. Gotta say, this doesn't sound like a run-of-the-mill deal. Now, I would never state or suggest otherwise. I have no knowledge, direct knowledge of these events. And so I make no claims about Benny Johnson's impeccable moral fortitude. I will say, however, that if it was a standard arm's length deal, I don't know that the Department of Justice would be looking at indicting you for it. So that sounds, just with my, reason and faculties, this sounds not quite right. I can't put my finger on it, but, far be it from me to claim I have any insider knowledge here. Obviously, Benny Johnson and his team of lawyers have nothing to fear because the truth is on their side. Now, let's take a look at Tim Pool's statement, just real quick here. Now, you'll have to forgive me because the only statement that currently exists is actually as a screenshot, because Tim Pool posted it and then deleted it, probably under the advice of his lawyer, which is probably good advice. However, the damage is already done because it exists on the internet, and we have the entire thing. My statement regarding allegations in the leaked DOJ indictment. Again, not leaked, unsealed. Should these allegations prove true, I, as well as the other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims. I cannot speak for anyone else at the company as to what they do or to what they are instructed. Tim. Just real quick. Just real quick.
I think I've pissed off basically everybody. That's what happens when you're a free thinker.
Free speech is under attack that we self-censor. Maybe they take us down individually. It's a lot harder to do when we're grouped together in this way.
When the media says dissident or anti-establishment, I mean, when I hear it, I think based, very cool.
Independent media, actual media's most important job is holding these people accountable.
Oh, in independent media.
The challenge for all of us is to not be passive participants in letting the country slip away.
That's so interesting. What a rousing statement. God, we need this. One second. Oh my God. Why? Why are you like this? Why is Google like absolutely unusable now? Tipster, thank you for gifting Gayfesh a sub. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Where is it? I could swear to you guys that Tenet Media existed under the auspices of the Timcast podcast show, which now is an umbrella network that covers a bunch of other stuff. Just real quick. God damn it. All right, here we go.
I worked for several massive corporate news organizations, and what did I learn? They lie. The exciting thing about Tenet is an opportunity to team up, forming a supergroup, and actually helping to establish and build culture and build an anti-establishment media
Tenet Media isn't a podcast.
apparatus. The show we're producing for Tenet is the Culture War Podcast.
There we go.
The reason we launched the Culture War Podcast is that too often these political talk shows just devolve into entertainment-style drama. We need to have real, reasonable conversations in a
real, reasonable conversations paid for by the Kremlin. Yeah.
way in which ideas are actually being challenged and expressed and not just pandering to e-drama nonsense. I'm Tim Pool for Tenet.
I had no idea I was on the payroll of the Russian government. No idea whatsoever. Impossible for me to know. I simply got oodles of money. I assumed it was because people liked my content. Should these allegations prove true, I, as well as the other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims. I cannot speak for anyone else at the company as to what they do or to what they are instructed. The Culture War podcast was licensed by Tenet Media. It existed well before any license agreement with Tenet, and it will continue to exist after any such agreement expires. The only change with the agreement was that the location of the live broadcast moved to Tenet's YouTube channel. Never at any point did anyone other than I have full editorial control of the show, and the contents of the show are often apolitical. Examples include discussing spirituality, dating, and video games. Yes, all those things, famously apolitical. You know, like spirituality. Famously, no wars have ever been fought over spirituality. None whatsoever. Anyway, the show is produced in its entirety by our local team without input from anyone external to the company, except for, of course, the oodles of money he was paid for the show. The TCW is separate, TCW is separate company, not associated with timcast.com or other properties. It exists solely for the production of the Culture War podcast. That's so weird. That being said, we still do not know what is true, as these are only allegations. Well, it's not only allegations, it's a goddamn indictment. Like, that's not... That's a bit more serious, my guy. That being... Putin is a scumbag, Russia sucks donkey balls, and to the journalists who wish to jump the gun, create their own narrative, or lie about what's currently going on, you can eat my Irish ass. There you have it, folks. If you're a journalist out there, you are cordially invited to eat Tim Pool's ass. I don't know if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, but anyone who is can certainly reach out to Tim Pool. It's weird of him to show his ass like this, but, you know, what can we say about that? And, I don't know. All I'm gonna say is suddenly a lot of Tim Pool's segments make some sense.
But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will
Yeah, he never had his ideological position on this shifted by a boatload of money from Russia.
Press again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine.
It's crazy. It does the whole bit. It does the whole bit. I'm not going to play the entire thing. That being said, like it's actually crazy. The amount of the amount of ammo this indictment has is wild, guys. On Wednesday, the Biden administration announced a sweeping set of action to tackle a major Russian government-backed effort to influence the 2024 U.S. presidential election, including sanctions on 10 individuals and entities and the seizure of 32 internet domains. At Russian President Vladimir Putin's direction, 3 Russian companies used fake profiles to promote false narratives on social media. U.S. Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco said in a statement, internal documents produced by one of those Russian companies show one of the goals of the propaganda effort was to boost the candidacy of Trump or whoever emerged as the Republican nominee for president, according to an FBI affidavit. Now, what's in the indictment, you might ask? Well, good of you to ask that question, because we have here New York Times Visual Investigations reporter Eric Toller on the case. A new DOJ indictment alleges that RT employees covertly funded and directed a U.S. company with $10 million in order to push pro-Russia content. Now, of course, this is Tenet Media. And, wowee. It is indeed, the indictment describes them to a T, down to quoting the about page of their website. Now, the indictment specifies that 2 of the people who work for this Tennessee company, Tenet, were deceived, meaning they didn't know that the Russian government was running an influence op. Dave Rubin has 2.4 million subscribers, and Tim Pool has 1.37 million. Because, lest you forget, Dave Rubin was in that about video for Tenet Media. So Dave is having a bad week, guys. And you might notice here, in the indictment, it says only that 2 of the founders, one being Lauren Chen, notable for being a conservative, transphobic bigot, worked together to deceive 2 U.S. online commentators, Commentator 1 and Commentator 2, who respectively have over 2.4 million and 1.3 million YouTube subscribers. So the indictment lists their subscriber numbers, and wouldn't you know, it corresponds directly with the Rubin report and Tim Pool. Now, if this is true, it's very noteworthy that the indictment only specifies 2 members of Tenet Media, and only those 2, which may imply some level of culpability of the remaining influencers at Tenet Media. Now, of course, I can't say anything definitive. I don't have insider information. But yeah, this is a no good, very bad day for the conservosphere. Benny Johnson also has almost 2.4 million, but they apparently rounded down from 1.37 million, 1.3 with Tim Pool. So I figured Rubin's 2.44 million, 2.4 million was the same. Now, what's interesting is I haven't looked at what Dave Rubin's statement on this might be. Let's take a look. What's Dave Rubin saying? Well, what's Dave Rubin saying? And of course, we have to go to the most reliable news source on Dave Rubin, Dave Clips, aka Dave Rubin Clips II parody. We have a statement on the DOJ indictment. Statement on the DOJ indictment. Hey guys, high-level ideas. These allegations clearly show that I and other commentators were the victims of this scheme. I know absolutely nothing about any of this fraudulent activity, period. People of the Internet was a silly show covering viral videos which ended 4 months ago. The DOJ has never contacted me regarding this matter, and I have no intention to comment further. Screenshot directly from the indictment speaks for itself. Oh, interesting. I wonder if Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson are both fighting to be like commentator one, the guy with 2.4 million views who is they're fighting over who got duped more. This is crazy. This is crazy, dog. Incredible stuff. It's truly a good day. Now, interestingly, here's another part. On or about February 15th, 2024, Afanasieva, as Helena Shudra, shared with U.S. Company One a video of a well-known U.S. political commentator visiting a grocery store in Russia. They posted the video in the producer Discord channel. Later that day, producer One privately messaged founder Two on Discord, "They want me to post this," referencing the video that FNS Yeva, I can't pronounce it, I'm sorry, had posted. "But it just feels like overt shilling," said producer One. Founder Two replied that founder One, quote, "thinks we should put it out there." Producer One acquiesced, responding, "All right, I'll put it out tomorrow." Oh, it's Tucker Carlson, everybody. Incredible stuff. Good journalism. Good journalism. Independent, even. Interestingly enough, on or about November 1st, 2023, one of the 6 commentators listed on U.S. Company One's website, Commentator 6, posted a video on YouTube announcing the launch of U.S. Company One. In the video, Commentator 6 explained that the U.S. Company One was a project of Founder One and Founder Two, who were, quote, trying to build a new platform for independent media, unquote. With the initial lineup of 6 content creators, namely Commentator 1 through Commentator 6. Oops. We got Matt Christensen over here. Interesting stuff. We got a whole lineup of conservative folks implicated in this entire scheme. It's actually wild stuff. Wild stuff. Just say Helena. I will. I will. Matt Binder, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. We are just talking about the absolute implosion of Tenet Media, and it's a good day. We're eating good, folks. We're eating good today on the bones of conservative propaganda. Lefty audio raid? Hell yeah, let's go. Wait, is my audio lefty audio? Does the audio sound bad? I had some audio problems at the beginning of the stream, so let me know. Matt Binder, I hope you had a great stream. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, folks. The timeline is weirdly healing. Emphasis on weird, indeed. I do have to say, I do find it very funny, and this is from The Guardian on this. Tenet Media's shows in recent months have featured high-profile conservative guests, including Donald Trump's daughter-in-law and RNC co-chair Lara Trump, former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, and Republican U.S. Senate candidate Carrie Lake. Now, one story that actually got kind of lost in the shuffle on my channel anyway, I do need to subject all of you to, because, you know, I think maybe we can attribute this particular music video with being one of the last things boosted by Tenet Media. I have no way of proving this, but it is pretty funny here. Let's take a look. Speaking of Lara Trump. Incredible stuff. Not this, it's this.
You'll give your life just to save another life. No, this can't be your job. You gotta have it in you. You're risking yours for someone you don't even know. This can't be a talent, must be a gift. You're going through the fire and the flames.
You're not high enough for this, that's probably
You're
true.
my hero. You're my hero. You're climbing up.
What are you watching? You're watching Lara Trump's new music video, guys.
Getting louder. You're my hero. You're my hero. Without your bravery, we're all out of luck. No,
I don't know who the first singer is. This is Lara Trump.
this can't be denied. You gotta be special.
You gotta be special.
It takes a lot to put you last and everybody first. This can't be for likes. With your heart they can make gold. Even if yours is compromised, we're both trapped under.
Can I say this sounds like an AI generated song? Like, they're showing two real women singing, but it sounds AI generated, man. Like, just the lyrics, the audio, the music.
These rebel skies, it's your will, don't ever let go of a life. You're going through the fire and the flames getting higher. You're my hero. You're my hero. You're climbing up the ladder.
Can I ask why they're wearing like fancy dresses on the fire escapes? Like, I understand that like the lyrics are about climbing up the ladder, etc., but like the vibe is rancid.
And the screams getting louder.
Can we please stop? No.
You're my hero.
Not until we get more subs and donos.
You're my hero. You're my hero. My hero.
Yeah, I've subjected a person of color to a whole lot of white women's autotune. I'm sorry. This is truly my most racist moment.
Hero. My hero. My hero.
Okay, I do have to ask. Are these real pictures of firefighters? And if so, are they still alive? Like, I want to know, because I wouldn't put it past Lara Trump to use pictures of dead firefighters for her music video. And I also wouldn't put it past Lara Trump to use AI-generated pictures of firefighters for her music video. Did they get permission? Excellent question, guys. Thought she was an Ann Coulter impersonator for a second. I mean, that's basically like, yeah, that's basically the Trump family in a nutshell.
Going through the fire, the flame.
They are all deceased in the line of duty? Oh my god. No, can I...
Stop the pain. BWA.
I need to know. Is that real? Wait. Music, released August 23rd. Okay. That didn't help or shed light on anything. I started playing this and my dog came in the room dragging the vacuum cleaner. Okay. None of this is actually answering my question.
Getting higher, you're my hero. You're my hero. You're climbing up the ladder, and the screams get louder.
You're climbing up the ladder and the screams are getting louder. Are you kidding? Why are these lyrics? Paladin Lost, thank you for the 10 gifted tier 1 subs. Unfortunately, you have 30 seconds left of this. But thank you so goddamn much for supporting the channel.
You're my hero. You're my hero.
Are the screams afraid of the firemen?
Please no more law.
It's true. I'm a cruel mistress. Cannabop Rex, thank you for the $10 dono. Please no more. I won't. It's over. Shh, shh, shh. Give in to the pillow, okay? I want to set myself on fire. That's the song you hear. That is how it feels. I feel betrayed. I'm sorry, Paladin. I'm sorry. Anyway, I have no proof whatsoever, but I blame Tenet Media for that. I blame Russia and Vladimir Putin himself for that music video. Okay? We need to understand the true atrocities being committed by Russia as we speak. As well as, you know, the actual atrocities that they're committing as we speak. Dick Cheney sent his approval. That was that was not just the waterboarding of your eardrums. That was the waterboarding of a generation, really. I signed up to be your sub, but this is too much pain. I'm sorry, Tubian. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Song is truly some supervillain shit. Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit. Now, yeah, I just have to say, as Hey It's Vadim pointed out on Twitter, you're telling me that Lauren Southern received covert funding from the Russian state media to spread disinformation? How could we ever have seen this coming? Far-right provocateurs Lauren Southern and Brittany Pettibone meet with Russian ultra-nationalist philosopher Alexander Dugin. You know, a Nazi. That's his philosophy. Dugin just repackaged Nazism for Russian nationalists. That's it. That's his contribution to philosophy. So yeah, how could we ever have seen this coming? My God.
I signed up to be your sub, but this is too much pain.
It's fair. It's fair. You know? Anyway, Tim Pool, what do you think about this? Tim, let us know. What do you think about Russia and Ukraine?
Ukraine says it struck at 2 oil depots inside Russia. Why are we tolerating this? Democrat voters who are supporting this are either abject, malicious evil or the banality of evil. I will say it again. Ukraine has invaded Russia. Whoops. They've evacuated 130,000 civilians. Whoopsie. They are bombing oil depots. Whoopsie.
I will say it again. Ukraine has invaded Russia.
The memes coming out of this are 10 out of 10. Good job, everyone. Good job. Anyway, yeah, it turns out Tim Pool and co. might be in a whole heap of trouble here, which would explain why they all release statements the same day and seemingly have a team of lawyers at their beck and call. So, you know, I thought you all might like to know that the milquetoast fence sitters, the classical liberals of our current political time, are truly facing some censorship of their free speech that came with a $10 million price tag, allegedly. So, anyway, the indictment basically lays out that Lauren Chen and I think her husband, was it? Let me just double check that. Oh God. Do 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 do. God. All right. Yes, it is indeed. The indictment also alleges that not everyone affiliated with Tenet was unaware of the scheme, stating that founders 1 and 2 of the company knew the source of their funding. The founders of Tenet Media are Lauren Chen and her husband. Chen is a conservative influencer and YouTuber who hosted a show on Blaze TV and who's affiliated with Turning Point USA. Guys, the dominoes might just be falling. I wonder, how's Charlie Kirk doing right now? Just out of curiosity. How's one Charlie Kirk doing? I am just curious. Let's see here. Let's see if he has any thoughts right now. 33 minutes ago, he's still tweeting. He's still tweeting. Okay. 1 hour. He's focusing on the JD Vance. First exclusive interview with the tenant from the Aurora, Colorado apartment allegedly invaded by Tren de Aragua. Now, I hate to break it to Frontlines, TPUSA, but the first interview with the tenant at that Aurora, Colorado apartment complex actually was done by local media from Channel 9, actually. You can actually watch a segment we did on it the other day featuring our favorite local newsman, Kyle Clark. And in it, they interview a Venezuelan immigrant who lives in the building and who talked about how the biggest danger that they face in the building right now is actually from white supremacist conservatives who are coming to their building and shouting at them with megaphones and threatening extreme acts of violence against anyone who looks remotely brown. So, you know, a little bit late on that. That was like from 2 days ago, too, by the way. Like, so not the first exclusive interview with the tenant from that building, just as an FYI. That's just false reporting there. Anyway, let's see. We got Charlie Kirk reporting Frank Luntz. Okay, JD Vance, JD Vance, JD Vance. I guess Charlie's focused on his Turning Point USA event that's happening today. That makes sense. Yeah, nothing of substance in like the last 6 hours, which I believe is around the time the information dropped. So, yeah, it's interesting stuff going on. Charlie Jinmir.
Side note, looking great today, Captain. Romantic face.
Thank you, Charlie. I've been working out. Okay, I'm on my fitness grind. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna be buff and like fit AF. Okay, over the next like 6 months. So stay tuned for that. So are we sending the end of these groups? Sensing the end of these groups? I don't know if we're sensing the end of these groups per se. But I think it's fairly safe to say that Tenet Media is toast. Like, that they're not going anywhere. And I think it's also fairly safe to say that anytime Tim Pool from now on claims to be a milquetoast fence sitter, we can call that bullshit. Like, we can point out to anyone in his audience, hey, he worked for a company that took $10 million from Russia to buy propaganda pieces from the people who were contributing to that network. One of which was Tim Pool, which would explain a lot of Tim Pool's coverage, actually. We are in interesting times, folks. Interesting times. Yeah, I guess you could say Das Vidania, indeed. So, all I'm saying is, I don't think this is going to be the end of Tim Pool by any means, but it is one of the few things that could actually hurt Tim Pool's reputation. Like, if it is proven that Tim Pool, either knowingly or unknowingly, was taking money from the Russian government, that kind of absolutely harms his reputation and position.
May you live in interesting times as a curse.
May you live in interesting times as a curse. Not today. Today it's great. Interesting times are wonderful when it comes to specifically what's happening with Tenet Media. Very interesting stuff. Tim's gonna get hair plugs as a disguise and go underground. They'll never recognize him without the beanie. Now, I do want to say that all of this has been very fun, and I appreciate it immensely. Now, folks, let's see. We need to like come up with
one of the things I
oh god. All right. If you guys, oh god, a little bit of spit. Sorry about that. Ew, gross. Folks, we've now been streaming for about an hour. If you've been enjoying the stream, hit the follow button on Twitch, you goofy goobers. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Like the YouTube stream. And please consider dropping those subs and donos, because this show is only made possible by viewers like you dropping those subs, donos, etc. Because, hey, folks, I'm a small Twitch and YouTube channel, and I don't make enough money off of ad revenue to survive. You guys are the ones that allow me to continue making this show day in and day out. You are why I am able to do like 4 to 8 hours of content every weekday, okay? And sometimes on the weekend. So, consider dropping it like it's hot. And by it, I mean money. Anyway. Gonna tell my girls, you're lucky you missed the Tim Pool era. Okay, so who's this Aiden Ross fellow running for president? Don't put that evil on us. Don't put that evil on us. Hey, nitric oxide. How you doing? We need a subscribe and donate commands. Well, Zoomy Deer on the Riverboat site, they're up on top of the screen. If you're I think if you're on mobile and on desktop, it's up there. It's like right there. You got some buttons. What's a fascist? It's true. I don't take millions from the Russians. Very true. Let's see here. Now, we do have a lot of content to go over today that is unrelated to any of that extraordinarily funny business with Tenet Media. Oh God, Annie, why do you bring this to me? Why do you bring this to my door? What is this clip? I haven't seen this. Fine.
There's other stuff. And like, I hesitate to even bring this up because people are hell-bent on being scared about Project 2025. But let me just be clear about something. There are all sorts of allegations about the Heritage Foundation's document, which again, they release every election cycle. This is the first time we have the Democratic Party specifically tying it to Donald Trump, because some of the people associated with the Heritage Foundation used to be in Trump's administration.
I really hate that this is sped up. It's not. I've been going through their training videos. It's every single person in every training video is a former member of Trump's administration. JD Vance wrote the foreword of the Project 2025 president's book, the Heritage Foundation's book. Also, just a sec. JD Vance Project 2025. Just real quick. Let's see here. Where was it? Yo, KBS, thank you for the $10 dono.
Just my monthly donation to the Riverboat Jack for President Fund BWA.
Yo, there are too many nudes out there of me for me to be president. But thank you for the $10 dono. I'll work on it. Okay? BWA, baby. Here we go. Found the thing I was looking for.
Around the 5 minutes mark, as a palate cleanser.
Let me just throw this up. I just need to find the actual clip here, because it's kind of important. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Let's see here. Ah, yes. Here is JD Vance.
Vance endorsing a series of extremely restrictive conservative essays on how families are made in America and what those families should look like. The New York Times unearthed the 2017 set of essays which Vance praised and wrote an introduction for.
Oh, weird. He wrote an introduction to a bunch of Heritage Foundation essays. That's crazy.
It is a Heritage Foundation report, including with arguments that women should get pregnant younger instead of using IVF treatments as, quote, magic pills to delay motherhood for professional advancement, that the ideal family is anchored by heterosexual parents, that abortion should be considered unthinkable in America, and that hunger is a good motivator for greater employment.
Whoopsie.
That's a whoopsie from me. That's a bit of a whoopsie daisy, actually. Now I do want to come up with one more clip here. I believe it was tweeted out also by Kamala HQ. Again, whoever's behind this account, they're doing a marvelous job collecting all of these clips. I actually wanted to do a bit of a dive into the clips being published in order to get all of the connections to Project 2025. Here is the Project 2025 planner, one of the people behind it.
the Heritage Foundation on their Project 2025, which is in charge of staffing the next administration should Trump win. So in the last year of the administration, last year in the White House, I ran the personnel office, which is in charge of like hiring and firing 4,000 political appointees in the executive branch, anything from like the Secretary of Defense to like a scheduler. So we're kind of like thinking ahead, like if Trump wins in November, who are good people to get in? Like who are the people from the last administration that were super successful and competent in their roles that can like move into senior roles? You know, giving him like a team that's all rowing in the same direction to like really hit the ground running, because the first time it was sort of the dog that caught the car. And it was like, whoa, wait, Trump won?
Yeah.
Like I thought he would win, but no one else did. You know, like there was nothing ready. There was no infrastructure. There was no staffing. And you have to run the entire federal government. So you rely on your DC network. You rely on establishment Republicans. And sometimes that's okay. But, you know, when you have a candidate that like Trump that's a little more outside the box, you need people that agree with him.
Huh. That's a very explicit thing to say about what their plan is and why they're doing what they're doing. That's very interesting, I have to say. And I feel like this is a little bit more than just, I don't know. I feel like this is a little bit more than, oh, it's just an unrelated organization. No, it's an organization staffed by people who worked for Donald Trump, who are talking about why they're doing what they're doing, specifically to get Donald Trump into power and empower him as a dictator. And his vice presidential pick is like the Heritage Foundation boy. The guy who carries all the water for the Heritage Foundation. That's his job. That's why he's in the position he's in. And also, well, yes, the Heritage Foundation does put out plans every election cycle for the Republican candidate. What we're seeing here is an unprecedented amount of coordination, not just between the Trump campaign and the Heritage Foundation, but also the Heritage Foundation and every other conservative think tank. Every other major conservative think tank currently operating in Washington, okay, has come together to work on Project 2025. They didn't just as a single entity come up with Project 2025. No, every billionaire, every huge, 100 millionaire out there has contributed and committed their think tanks to basically making this Voltron of evil known as Project 2025. That's so interesting. Trump caught cheering extremist project he says he knows nothing about. That's crazy. On Thursday, MSNBC dug up a clip from 2022 of Trump expressing some pretty convincing familiarity with the people behind Project 2025 and potentially hinting at knowing that the document was in the works. Our country is going to hell. The critical job of institutions such as heritages to lay the groundwork, Trump stumbled, and Heritages does such an incredible job at that, he said, stumbling again.
Our country is going to hell. The critical job of institutions such as Heritages to lay the groundwork, and Heritage does such an incredible job at that. This is a great group, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America. And that's coming. That's coming.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. Here, just real quick. Here's some undercover video, okay?
It's just politics. And
this isn't the undercover video. Is it Democracy Now?
We begin today's show with a new
agenda items, things like that. That's been supervised largely by us.
The first phase of Project 2025 was a 922-page policy book published openly.
The second phase is a comprehensive, concrete transition plan for each federal agency. These much more detailed plans are confidential.
Yeah. Because obviously you want as little of it to be FOIA-able, if you're familiar with the FOIA process.
God, here.
Frustrated by
administration.
I really just want this clip. This conversation is fascinating because this guy right here, okay, they did an undercover expose. I believe posing as a like British publication. We're not seeing anything. Oh, that's my bad. Here we go. There we go. This guy right here is one of the, if not the leader of the Heritage Foundation, the president. These two guys got into an interview with him, saying, "Hey, we're so interested. We're conservatives from England." And I covered this. I covered this video already, but like, this guy literally lays out, Trump has to distance himself from us because that's politically expedient, but I'm not worried. He's basically eating out of the palm of our hand. He's going to do what we're handing to him because that's the entire purpose of Project 2025. Jack, can you remind us which foundation made the recommendation for Trump's SCOTUS? I can't quite place it. What? You know what? I'm gonna Google it. We're gonna Google it together, okay? What org what org suggested judges for SCOTUS to Trump? Oh, meet the powerful group. The powerful group behind Trump's judicial nominations. Wow, who could that be? It's the Federalist Society. Bum, bum, bum. Hey, I wonder, just out of curiosity. Could there be any relation whatsoever? I read the Project 2025 playbook, and I couldn't find a single white Christian nationalist policy from the Federalist. Oh. Well, that settles it. That settles it right there, folks. Now, I wonder, just real quick. I wonder what Steve Bannon, Donald Trump's campaign strategist for 2016, I wonder what he thinks about Project 2025.
Because they understand it's the end of an era. The Project 2025 and things have fallen that rubric is just the deconstruction of the administrative state, the unconstitutional leviathan that has grown up, that the Supreme Court's going to be taking on with 4 or 5 decisions over the next 2 weeks. Has to be done both from the executive branch and the legislature, and that's happening. People are getting trained up. People they're taking subject matter experts and getting ready to hit the beach, and there's 2.25 federal employees. The program is to eliminate billets. Not going to pick on people individually. Eliminate billets. Eliminate billets, which is your purview with his political appointee, the 3,000. But don't forget, please, don't ever forget the 8 million contract. I think there's 18 million contractors overall if you count every person that they pay. But I think there's like 8 million executive or quasi-executive. Those contracts can all be canceled and should be canceled and will be canceled.
Yeah, just Trump's campaign strategist for 2016 advocating for gutting the federal government so that Donald Trump can wield more power. Anyway, I wonder here. I wonder, hey guys, hey, I wonder if there's any connection between Paul Dans and Project 2025. Oh wait, the guy Paul Dans, the guy behind Project 2025, one of the main guys. Oh, weird. Thanks, ProPublica. Thanks for clearing that up. The man behind Project 2025's most radical plans. His name's Paul Dans, everybody. I wonder, does he have any connection to the Federalist Society? Da, 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 da. Let's see here. Let's find out. Let's find out together. Control F. Federalist Society. Oh, at the University of Virginia School of Law, which Dans attended next, his transformation became explicit. He joined the campus branch of the Federalist Society. Oh, that's so crazy. Quote, I was always attracted with the Federalist Society message about how some darling student stood up at Yale Law School and challenged the hegemony there and really was trying to speak truth to power. Oh, that's so interesting. He told that story last year on Moment of Truth, a podcast produced by American Moment, a conservative organization now aligned with Project 2025. That's so crazy, dog. Now, early in the 2016 primary season, Dans attended a dinner of the steering committee for the New York City Lawyers chapter of the Federalist Society. As he later recalled to Sharma and Solheim, someone asked whom people were supporting for president, and around the table it went, I like Jeb, I like Marco, I like Jeb. Dans watched in bewilderment. Here were all these New York Republicans, and no one had mentioned the man who lived a few blocks away, who had decided to run for president this time. Finally, it was Dan's turn. Well, I like Trump, and I think he's going to win. I like him because I'm sick of losing, he said. So interesting. Finally, in late 2018, Dans came to Washington for a Federalist Society meeting and connected with James Bacon, a college student who was working as confidential assistant to Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson. With Bacon's help and with the benefit of his master's in city planning, Dans finally broke in July 2019 as a senior advisor in HUD's Office of Community Planning and Development. Career staff at HUD didn't know what to make of Dans. Quote, we tried to figure out what his role was, one of them told me, speaking on condition of anonymity for fear of retribution. He kind of wandered in, the career employee said. He was fairly disdainful of the career staff and did not have a lot of respect for why things were the way they were. For Dans, his arrival was, quote, a real baptism, unquote, in how the government actually works. You don't realize that the federal government is just an avalanche of money shooting out at various agencies. He told Sharma and Solheim, it's trying to tame this spew of money and direct it the right way is what you're doing when you get to an agency. As Dan saw it, the career employees were the problem. They were biased against conservatives and they disregarded changes sought by the duly elected administration. Dans also blamed fellow appointees, too many of whom were clueless about the actual work and thus willing to cede decision-making to career employees. You came and you went to cocktail parties and you had your birthday cakes around the office and, maybe a couple of ribbon cuttings and you got to go to a little international junket, he told Sharma and Solheim. And meanwhile, everything else is kind of going at the same level. And from there, that is Project 2025 for you. That he then injected all of these ideas into the Heritage Foundation. Thanks, Paul Dans. Wowee. But anyway, there are no connections whatsoever. You all should check out my YouTube playlist going through every single Project 2025 training video that got leaked. I think we're through about half of them, okay? And yeah, if you can watch all of those and still think that there's no connection whatsoever between this colossal expenditure of political and financial capital to create Project 2025 and its close connections with the Trump campaign, I think you're a bit silly. Anyway, moving right along.
Okay, does that mean that Trump is... You think Trump respects anyone who's in his administration? But okay, let's talk about...
I think he respects the money that is getting him elected. I think that is the one thing he cares about. Donald Trump cares about money. That's the one... Like... Mr. Anderson, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. I definitely appreciate each and every one of them. So thank you so goddamn much. But Anna, you've been in this business for a while now. You know how this works. It doesn't matter if he doesn't respect the individual members of his past administration, because let's be honest, he would watch them like bleed out if it made him $1, okay? That's the level to which he respects them. But the reason he actually cares about what they have to say is that they are paid for representatives of wealthier people. That's what think tanks are. They're paid for by extremely wealthy people to think and come up with PR talking points, with research that muddies the waters. That's their job. Their job is to be paid propagandists, but on another level, legitimized propagandists. That's their job. And Trump knows that now. And so he knows that when he comes into office, if he wants to keep getting those sweetheart deals, all he has to do is bring those people into his administration to take their plan. You know, it's kind of a you scratch my back, I scratch yours situation. Because Donald Trump at his heart is a mobster. He is a criminal syndicate leader. That's what he does. That's the only language he understands. Money. That's it.
The specific allegations that we've heard about what's in Project 2025, which is a 900-page document. The media knows that most Americans, they don't have the bandwidth to sit down and read a 900-page document. So they get to say whatever they want about it. They get to claim that it includes all sorts of things that it doesn't even actually say.
Well, I can't say that I have read all of the Project 2025 document. What I can say is I've sat through half their training videos. And in those training videos, which were never intended for public viewing and are geared towards people who will be appointed in the Trump administration, should he win, they aren't coy about the purpose of those appointees. Their purpose is to essentially gut the federal government and to serve as yes men to whatever Donald Trump says, regardless of what the law is. Okay? That's the purpose. We've gone over half of them. And we're going to finish all of them before the election rolls around. I'm just saying here, even if you don't read every single word of Project 2025, even if you just go off of their leaked internal training videos, it is very painfully clear what their plan is. It is painfully clear that it doesn't matter what policies are put forward in Project 2025, because the function of Project 2025 is to make Donald Trump a dictator, to eliminate any kind of bureaucratic resistance or concern over legalities from the federal government. It is the project dedicated to consolidating authoritarian power behind Donald Trump. That's painfully obvious. And if you are not concerned about that from the guy who tried to overthrow democracy 4 years ago, I don't know what to tell you. You are lost.
So for instance, Vice President Harris said on July 23rd that Project 2025 called for cutting Social Security. It was not a one-time mistake. She also said at a July 11th, 2024 campaign,
"Take my money and thank you for everything."
Cannabo Brex, thank you for the $5 dono, and you're very welcome. I don't know what all that entails, but I appreciate it. Why is TYT so awful in 2024? I have some speculations, and we'll get to it.
In event, Project 2025 includes a plan to cut Social Security. Well, NewsGuard, which does a pretty good job in fact-checking these types of claims on both sides, took a look, and they found out that the Project 2025 policy playbook titled Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise, does not even mention any proposed changes to Social Security. Okay, great. Left-leaning news outlet, thegrio.com, advanced the myth that Project 2025 proposes banning Muslims. The Mandate for Leadership includes no mention of a Muslim ban or any religion or ethnicity-specific entry ban.
I just... I find this hard to take seriously. You know, like, Project 2025 is at its heart a project to make Donald Trump a dictator. If Donald Trump is a dictator, do you think that he is going to protect Social Security? Do you think that he is going to be very lax about Muslims and the border, black and brown people? Do you think that the guy who refused to rent apartments to black people and thought that having black workers made his workplaces look unprofessional, you think that guy is going to do right by black Americans as an authoritarian dictator? You think the guy who called for sealing off immigration from Muslim majority countries is like good? Like, I can understand being like, well, that's not in Project 2025. And like, maybe it's not. But I think the substance is kind of getting lost in the nitpicking here. And the substance is, this is a plan to end democracy. That's what it is. And I know that definitively. Ah, OS Crane. Interesting. See, I'm not willing to say that Anna Kasparian is lying here. Well, Project 2025 never mentions Social Security. It does mention entitlements, which is the Republican way of saying Social Security. You know, like that's like, oh, hey, question. Does Project 2025 ban abortion? Okay, I'm asking this genuinely as to chat. Do you think Project 2025 would ban abortion? Is that in the document? A national abortion ban? Yes? Yeah? Isn't it? Effectively, yes. See, any with their technically correct or technically no, technically correct, technically no comment is correct. And Fenry with their effectively yes comment is also correct, because it doesn't call for a national abortion ban. However, can I bring up the exact text here? It does say that the Department of Health and Human Services should, quote, return to being known as the Department of Life by explicitly rejecting the notion that abortion is health care. It recommends that the FDA reverse the approval of the abortion drug mifepristone. Basically, guys, its goal is to make it effectively impossible to get an abortion. Project 2025 even stipulates, oh, well, if mifepristone is still approved by the FDA, I mean, we should really lower it from 10 weeks of use to just 7 weeks of use. Like, it wants to eliminate funding for the CDC. It wants to do all kinds of things, right? In order to effectively diminish or eliminate access to abortion care. So while it's true that they aren't calling for a national abortion ban in Project 2025, they are explicitly calling for basically the same thing. Now, when you talk about the entitlements being cut, right? How Project 2025 doesn't explicitly call to cut Social Security. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. I'm quoting this from a PBS article. In his earlier campaigns and before he was a politician, Trump said about a half a dozen times that he was open to major overhauls of Social Security, including cuts and privatization. More recently, in a March 2024 CNBC interview, Trump said of entitlement programs such as Social Security, quote, "There's a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting," unquote. And, well, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? Now, what does Project 2025 explicitly say about these entitlement changes? Basically, it wants to privatize Medicare. Like, if you hear that and you are like, your skin isn't crawling, what you're looking at is basically privatized healthcare for senior citizens. You're looking at old people in high risk pools being cut off from their insurance. I'm going to quote this as well. Unlike original Medicare Advantage plans, Medicare Advantage is the term for privatized Medicare, have provider networks and can also require prior authorization, meaning that the plan can approve or deny certain services. So, Mima can be denied her physical therapy. They also want to privatize the VA. That's true. That's true. Simric, thank you for the $2 super chat. Also, hey guys, what was like one of the really, really great things that Biden was able to do for senior citizens in particular? He was able to make it so that Medicare, under the like care of the government, could negotiate lower prices for drugs, which led to a massive reduction in prices for some of the most expensive drugs in America. Now, this is important because Donald Trump keeps saying he's not going to cut Medicare. And that's another thing that's just technically true. Like, he's not going to cut it. He's just going to make Medicare not the default and make the privatized version the default. You see, like, this is a massive semantic game, a little shell game that's being played here. It is the I'm not touching you equivalent of politicking. It is disgusting to portray it in any other way. Privatizing Medicare is a cut. It will harm hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. Like, I know some of you in my audience are old enough to have encountered
There's other stuff.
Oh God, rejection from insurance providers. I know that there are people watching right now who have received a phone call or a letter in the mail from your insurance providers telling you, we're sorry, we're just not going to cover that. And you experience the stone that drops into your stomach, knowing that you have a medical problem that is diagnosed and that there are cures and treatments that will alleviate your suffering. And someone looked at a spreadsheet somewhere and said, nah, that's too expensive. We're very sorry. You're just going to have to deal with it. And then you know that for the rest of your life after this, not only will you not be able to get care unless you scrimp and save and maybe take out a private loan or even go into medical debt, you know that that's going to exist as a pre-existing condition that your insurance provider can then use against you in a myriad of different ways that that are still technically legal. I get this feeling every time I talk to the VA appointed endo about getting top surgery and they say no every time. Yeah. Trans people in particular, you guys know a lot about this. And if you guys aren't American and you live in a country with socialized medicine, you are lucky that you will not know the feeling of just like going to the doctor and being told no. Or, you know, having a surgery plan that gets canceled because, well, you just don't have $100,000 laying around in your bank account. So I just don't know, man. It's deeply disappointing to see TYT and Anna Kasparian trying to split hairs about people opposing a fascist takeover of America. Like I at the end of the day, I do care about accurate information, but there's no reason to gloss over the core points that people are trying to make in order to be pedantic and attack their advocacy for maintaining democracy. That is a failure of progressive politics of the highest order and an abdication of journalistic responsibility, I think, as a leftist. I work in healthcare and in finance and billing, often on the patient advocacy side, on the patient advocacy side against dishonest doctors. People just have no idea how staggeringly expensive maintenance/life-saving prescriptions are. The cap on medication is still grossly underemphasized in terms of how big what Biden did is. And Mr. Oakby, the thing is, Biden did a huge thing when it comes to like caps on medication and like collective bargaining on medication prices. There's still so much room to move from there, but it is a start. Like starting that process and having those processes in place makes it so much easier to move that bar and expand that kind of coverage to everybody. Having the government being able to negotiate on Medicare makes it easier when you expand Medicare to negotiate prices down for other people. You like, honestly, the easiest way for us to get like a single payer healthcare system or a universal Medicare for all system would just be slowly expand Medicare. It doesn't have to be overnight, but do it on a timeline that is consistent. My brother had a broken ankle and they wouldn't let him have surgery. It's 10 years on and it never healed right. I'm really sorry to hear that, Lee Kessner. But yeah, it's messed up, man. $5,100 for 12 heart pills every month to keep you alive is insane. Yeah. Especially when they often cost pennies on the dollar to produce. And if you have a choice between paying that or dying, most people will try and pay that for as long as they can because they don't want to die. So all I'm going to say here is that Project 2025 literally aims to cut programs and to cut spending and social like initiatives, bargaining initiatives, pro-worker initiatives. You can try and split hairs over like the exact wording of, oh, well, he doesn't say he's going to cut Social Security. It just says he's going to cut entitlements. And then the entitlement is like, oh, we're going to privatize Medicare for the most vulnerable people in our society. I think that's a pretty shitty hair to split when you have bigger fish to fry. I just lost my job in insurance, and even with the marketplace insurance, it doesn't cover one of my wife's diabetic meds. She's literally going to go without it until I can find work and get insurance. Ah, damn, Gamer G. I'm sorry to hear that. I had a friend that died because in her state, her medical needs were not covered by her insurance. If she lived in another state, her insurance would have covered it. I'm really sorry to hear that, Miss Hire. I had vertigo every night for 2 months and was denied an MRI to find the root cause. Yeah, it is an unspeakable crime. And I just think that when we're talking about the effects Project 2025 would have, which, to be clear, again, the main one would be a fascist takeover of America. But the knock-on effects, you know, the cutting of entitlements, the stated goal to eliminate the Department of Education. I think that there are so many things here that if you're splitting hairs, you just miss you miss the forest for the trees, you know? Like, oh, well, yeah, sure, it doesn't call explicitly for cutting Social Security, but privatizing Medicare will literally torture hundreds of thousands of Americans. It will set up a machine to extract money from the weak and the elderly and the disabled. And frankly, like, I don't think that secures our society, you know, as it were. So I don't know. I know I'm rambling and I'm kind of going a little bit in circles, but like, this is deeply disappointing. As somebody I've had Anna Kasparian on my show, guys. I had Anna Kasparian on my show. I've had endorsements of her as like a channel trailer for my show. Okay? And it's just, it's disappointing as hell. Wait, really? Really? I took down the channel trailer because she kept going on with the birthing person stuff. Which, by the way, the first time she did that, I tried to show her a lot of grace and explain the issue. And then she doubled down on it over and over again. And, you know, I can only explain it so many times before I have to come to the conclusion that, like, she just doesn't want to listen. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's not a brainworm. It's just, frankly, I don't think it's even motivated by money for her. I genuinely think it's coming from like a real place. And I think that place is like, she was traumatized by homeless people in California, and rather then acknowledging that as like an unfortunate one-off incident, it was the catalyst that changed her entire political outlook. And I think that there are, while I sympathize with like the first part of that, I don't think something bad happening to you personally is a good reason to completely abandon your values.